this here is section number 1, which it has almost like the 3D fencing. This is basically not electrified, and this is just the ribbon that you can use for electric fencing. I chose not to electrify it, long story. But using that and this trellis netting, which is just made out of cloth or rope, has proven to be a very good deterrent for the deers, to keep the deer out. So this section is doing really well so far. The deer haven't gotten in. This is all landscape fabric. Everybody is planted 2 feet apart, and the rows are 8 feet apart. And we have seen a few weeds. Japanese beetles seem to enjoy the plants, but you can see there's a little damage, but not enough to be damaging to the plant. You see there's a weed growing through there, one of those viney weeds. It's a type of morning glory. I can't remember the name. But all in all, this is effective too if you have high deer pressure in keeping the deer out and letting your plants, your hibiscus plants, grow to their maximum. And once again, I don't use any fertilizer or any herbicides for weed suppression, which I really wish I did sometimes. But we prefer not to because we have honeybees next door on our lot. So we don't want to introduce any chemicals. And we also utilize this space as a pollinator habitat. So I do like the trellis fencing. Lightweight, easy to handle, very inexpensive. Using T-posts, which if you get the T-post driver, it works really well. I wanted to extend it up higher, so I just zip tied PVC poles and was able to bring the wire up higher. I actually used 2 rows of it because I think they only sell it at a 5-foot height. At least I didn't see the 8-foot height. And then this outer perimeter of just the simple ribbon seems to keep the deer from trying to make their way in here. So that's it for tour of section number 1. Okay, so here we are in hibiscus section number 2. Now we have rows of hibiscus on landscape fabric, and then there's cover crop in between, which has gotten a little weedy, so we'll have to work on that. But overall, in my opinion and from my experience, they seem to do better with the landscape fabric. There's less competition, and they can do what they do really well. These plants here are about 2.5, 3 feet tall. Very little weed pressure that they have to contend with. Every now and then we do get a weed coming through the grass, through the plastic, but that's just a simple matter of just pulling that up out the ground and getting rid of it. So, all in all, this seems to be a preference, but another option if you're planting on just bare soil is to make sure you space your plants as individuals and as the rows wide enough for you to bring a tiller through the sections. Because otherwise, depending on where you are, grass can just simply take over. And that just really chokes out your plants. And I'm going to show you that in section number 3. This is section number 2. Okay, here we have section number 3 in the hibiscus area. And in this section, we didn't use landscape fabric to see if there would be a difference in how the plants could function, how they would grow. What we have found happens is the weed pressure is really strong here, so the hibiscus plants end up competing with the weeds. And you can see there's a hibiscus plant in the middle, and there's weeds all around it. It's growing strong, but weeds are not our friends. I'm sure weeds have a purpose, but not for the purposes of this project. So I know it's very hard to see in this section, but there are quite a few hibiscus plants in here. If you notice the ones that are here towards the back, they're doing very well. All in all the plants are doing well. It's just some of the younger plants, the smaller plants, are having issues competing. It seems like when the plants get to a certain size, about 18 inches or a foot tall, they seem to do okay. And one of the challenges, what I would do different if I don't do landscape fabric, and what I would suggest, make sure your rows and your plants are far enough apart that you can just come through with your riding lawnmower or your tiller, if you can see. And you can always tell the hibiscus by the telltale reddish stems. So there's one there. There's actually a whole row of them here, but the weed pressure is just really taking over. And it was because this spot, we didn't realize we needed more spacing between the plants and the rows in order to ride through here with the riding lawnmower, in order to keep the weed pressure down. So next go around, next year, we'll fix that. At this point, there's nothing we can do except get the guy in here to go ahead and cut the grass around the plants, and we'll take it from there. But definitely, if you don't use landscape fabric, at the very least, make sure you maintain a regular mowing schedule.